Hey guys, welcome back to Horror Movie Month. And before I get started with this review, you guys might notice that my posters are down. Look in the background. The reason for this is because I'm going to be moving into a new apartment in a couple weeks, and I packed up all my posters. So once I get settled into my new apartment, I'm going to put up my posters and you guys will be able to see my posters in my review once again. But for now, I'm really just going to have to review movies without posters for now. Anyway, let's talk about our next movie for Horror Movie Month. Halloween. Not John Carpenter's. Rob Zombie's. Yep, we are getting really into this crap right now. Oh boy. Rob Zombie's Halloween came out in 2007, and this film basically tells the story of young Michael Myers, who kills Judith, his sister, along with many other individuals, and he's been doing it ever since he was a little kid. And in this film, we actually get to see Michael's backstory as a child, compared to the original, where in the original it was just sort of anonymous on why he was the killer. The movie just jumped in. The movie just jumped into the story right away in John Carpenter's Halloween, and that's what made it scary. It was anonymous, and it was kind of creepy. You had no idea why Michael Myers was evil. He just snaps like that. But anyway, in this film, he starts off as a kid, and his backstory, and we get to know more about his backstory of him being a kid, and how he ended up where he is in prison. And 30 years later, he escapes out of prison to continue his killing spree in his hometown, and to go after his remaining victims. Rob Zombie's Halloween is one of those movies that pleases many people and is a 50-50 for others, and is terrible for a few others too. This movie is not terrible. It's nowhere near great or good though. This movie is very mediocre at best. Rob Zombie's Halloween is a disappointing movie. This film does not capture the tension and the suspense that John Carpenter's Halloween had. This film doesn't even feel like a Michael Myers movie. The Myers family is very nasty and dark. Michael Myers himself, as a kid, he's just way too emo, and that's really not how we pictured Michael Myers in the original film at all. He wasn't supposed to be emo. He was just evil. I really don't like the tone that this movie was going for, and it's no surprise because it's a Rob Zombie film, and Rob Zombie movies are highly flawed, trust me. And I don't think it's fair to honestly say it. I don't even think it's fair to say it's a flaw, but all Rob Zombie movies have big flaws, and Halloween 2007 is a big one. Like I said, this movie is not terrible. There are some enjoyments that this movie does have some enjoying elements that you can get out of it. But for the most part, this movie tries to be its own thing on some certain standards, and it doesn't work. I really like the idea of differentiating yourself, especially with what Rob Zombie tried to do with his movie. At least he tried to create his own vision. I just didn't like how everything was unfolded in this movie. I just didn't like how his vision was unfolded in this movie. I thought it was way too dark, way too brutal, and it didn't feel like Michael Myers. Sure, I'm going to be the first to admit this. The kills in this movie are absolutely BA. This movie is gory as heck. It is very messed up. No surprise, because it's a Rob Zombie movie, and Rob Zombie movies are very, very known to be very messed up. One thing that I caught up while watching this movie is, like the Friday the 13th reboot, you seem to not give a crap about a single character in this film. Not even Laurie Strode. And that's mostly because the actress does not capture the same essence that Jamie Lee Curtis did. Jamie Lee Curtis is the scream queen, and she is phenomenal in John Carpenter's Halloween. Sure, there were a few times where she was whining, but she really did an excellent job. In this film, I felt really nothing for Laurie in this film. And it's really because of the dialogue and the acting and the writing in this film. It's all really just messy. Easily the best actor in this movie is Malcolm McDowell. I really love Malcolm McDowell as an actor. I think Malcolm McDowell is an excellent actor, easily one of my all-time favorite actors. I really love him in A Clockwork Orange, and he is really, really great in this film too. Honestly, he's the only good actor that I can really think of that's in this movie. That's really sad. Not to say that the other acting performances are terrible, they're 50-50. They're hit or miss. They really are. And there are a lot of times in this film where the acting is way too over the top. Way too over the top, and you're just like, really? It does not work when the acting really boosts itself to a Rob Zombie level, and you can feel it. And if you think about it, it hurts the film. It really does. Because it's not just the acting, it's the dialogue too. I'd have to say the atmosphere made me feel uncomfortable, and I'm pretty sure that's the tone that Rob Zombie was going for, and I don't know if this is a good thing or bad thing. I honestly don't, because Rob Zombie's Halloween is messy and nasty and disturbing in a lot of ways. And I can't really say that's a good or bad thing. One thing that this film really lacks at is delivering tension and suspense. There was not a single moment in this movie where I felt something was going to happen and I should be ready. And I should be ready for it. Not ready, but there was not a single moment in this film where I felt chills down my spine. And when I watched the original Halloween, even the opening of John Carpenter's film sends chills down my spine. The score in the background, dun, 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 and when the freaking jack-o'-lantern appears on screen, that still sends chills down my spine. I didn't really get any of that feeling in this film. I didn't feel any of that in Rob Zombie's Halloween. Rob Zombie's Halloween really does lack on delivering good scares. Like I said, this isn't a terrible movie. This film tries to go for new elements. That doesn't mean it will always work. I'd have to say the costume design for Michael Myers is pretty good. It's not matchable. It doesn't match or do the original costume design from John Carpenter's film justice. It is acceptable though. I really did like how it felt a little old and rusty, which, by the way, I need to add on to one thing in this film, and this is one thing that really got to me. Michael Myers having a beard and long gross hair. I mean, I guess it's a Rob Zombie film, so okay, I guess, but this is not Michael Myers. Like, when I was watching this film, I didn't feel like I was watching a Michael Myers film. I just felt like I was watching a fan-made project of John Carpenter's Halloween, but instead of being a script-for-script project, new elements are in it. A lot of new elements, and that's exactly how I felt about this movie, and that's exactly what it is. The thing that makes this movie flop is that the elements were not executed that well. They weren't. The new elements that Rob Zombie decided to add, and I really loved that Rob Zombie decided to go for his own vision. He even stated that he wasn't trying to have this to be like John Carpenter's Halloween. I love that. But the elements were not executed that well. I'm not saying they were terrible. And I'd have to say that's mostly due to the lack of tension and suspense. And I want to see tension and suspense in a horror film, because that's what horror films are technically supposed to do. They're supposed to scare you. They're called horror movies for a reason. And let's be honest, not every horror movie is going to scare you. Not every modern horror movie, or maybe not every classic horror movie is going to scare you these days, depending on what kind of person you are. But you may get some chills down your spine. But really, all to the conclusion is Rob Zombie's Halloween is honestly a mediocre at best. This film isn't good or great. It's not terrible. It's fine. I don't hate this movie because I honestly do think that a few people could sometimes go a little overboard in hating this movie, which I wouldn't necessarily blame them. I could see why they hate the movie. I just don't think it's that big of a deal to really hate on this movie, because there are some things you can get a kick out from this movie, very few things, But this movie is really kind of disappointing. I'm gonna give Rob Zombie's Halloween a C-. I could give it a lower grade, I really could, but I'm not going to, because like I said, there are a few things that you could really get a kick out of this movie. The deaths are really well done. I honestly think the atmosphere makes you feel a little uncomfortable. Really the film lacks on a lot of things. This film lacks on so many things, but it's not terrible. It really isn't. Guys, thank you guys so much for watching, though. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. You guys are the best. Love every single one. Love every single one of you. And look forward to more reviews that'll be coming very soon. And as always, if you're new here and you like what you see here, why not hit that subscribe button to join the EliB/520 community. And I will see you next time. Peace out.